What's up? My name is Ken Dumbo, the MC with the sauce. Don't forget to subscribe to J. Cool.
Number of colleagues that are with us today. Let me start with ministers from what we are calling the LOBITO corridor countries. Angola, Bondi, thank you. From Congo DR, Bonjour. From Zambia, Muribwanji. I must also tag at the same time my colleagues that I'm seated with there from White House, Samos, from AFC, the chief executive, my good friend, is becoming a good friend now. But to recognize also various senior government officials from the three countries, Angola once more, DRC, Zambia, but also from the US that have been working with us on this great project. You're all recognized. Let me return to the partners on the LOBITO corridor. Once again, the US, the EU, European Union, the African Development Bank, the African Finance Corporation, and others. Your Excellencies, Ambassadors, High Commissioners that are credited to Zambia, but also those that may be traveling from other countries. It is important that we recognize the business community really around whom this forum is organized. Many of you hopefully will see the huge opportunities that will be brought about by this corridor, beyond probably your imagination as you sit where you are or you listen to us, given the technological age that others are following this forum from afar. If I may just say, distinguished delegates, media too is not to be forgotten. I must express my delight that, as my colleague Amos put it, that we are here today and I'm officiating at this forum. Many things in public sector take so long to happen. We say to ourselves, we'll make this one different. We'll push it quickly. And I'm delighted that today the test of what you have heard so far from the speakers that have spoken before me, and what you will hear more, which will be spoken about, is happening within a reasonable period of time, contrary to the way things happen around the public sector. As Amos said, months back, we sat somewhere and we were scribbling things around this corridor, what we could do together, and argued a little bit on some of the changes we needed to make. Selfishly, we wanted Zambia to have a reasonable part of this project. And today I'm happy to say that Angola, Congo DR, my two presidents, brothers, have been gracious to allow Zambia to have a reasonable input and involvement in this corridor. So thank you to Angola, thank you to Congo DR. So really the two presidents, my brothers, please need to be commended for the three of us who've been able to sign a number of agreements quickly. We've met a couple of times. Since I took office, two countries I've been most to in the region, in fact globally, is Angola and Congo DR. This is one of the reasons I've been going to those two countries often. I know Zambians sometimes ask, where has he gone? What is he doing? This is what we've been doing behind the scenes. Make maximum use and generate maximum value from amongst the things we're doing together in the region with our partners, global partners, US, EU, G7, G20. This is one which I consider, as I said in the side discussions, a step change. Not a gradual one, but a step change. Dramatic. When we manage this project well, this corridor well, the impact to our economies of Angola, Congo DR, Zambia will be dramatic. Not just as the name connotes, LOBITO corridor, Benguela railway line, not just the railway line, but other things around this backbone.
What's up? My name is Ken Dumbo, the MC with the sauce. Don't forget to subscribe to JQ.
Connectivity in the information world, technology around there, fiber optic, optic fiber, whatever you want to call it, road infrastructure around the corridor. For us in Zambia, since Cecil Road's Cape to Cairo railway line project, DREAM, since the Tazara, Chairman Mao, President Nyerere, President Kaunda, this for Zambia will be the most significant railway project since those two projects, connecting Zambia to this project, LOBITO corridor, Luakano up there, Luakao, up there, onto Ijimbe, Vice President Kabindele, onto Mwinilunga, Kalumbila, Lumana, Solwezi, Chingola. This is a big thing for us in this country. Opening up that part of our country, connecting it to the Zambia Railways network, connecting it at Kapili to the Tazara network. Hence what Amos said, from the Atlantic Ocean in Angola, LOBITO, onto this network, onto Dar es Salaam, Indian Ocean. You will agree with me, this is not a small project. This is a huge project. Yes, we talk of critical minerals, going green to mitigate against negative effects of climate change, to move away from fossil fuels to green energy, power, hydro, solar. If you listen to Amos, he was talking of 500 megawatts It's part of the project of green energy. But for us, 3 countries along this corridor, opening up our hinterlands. You look at the size of Congo, size of Angola, it's slightly smaller, but combined, we're going to open up our communities to modernity. Leave modernity alone. I know you think of electricity, connectivity in terms of, if you like, mobile money, all of that. But just to be able to allow our communities who may have been forgotten for years and years, now they can be networked and a farmer will be able to produce, irrigate, improve their productivity, their yields, process their product, sell to the domestic markets in the 3 countries, but the excess, make it available to the markets in the 3 countries, but also to the markets beyond, through LOBITO, Atlantic Ocean, Tresla, if you like, eventually Nakala, Durban. You can go around a little bit to Walvis Bay. This is not a joke. To us in the 3 countries, with our partners, as I said, US, EU, African Development Bank, African Finance Corporation, these 2, our own financial institutions, African financial institutions, working for Africa, but in partnership with the global community. The great story depends on what you are made of. If we share a vision of what this Africa can be, what these countries can be, working in the context of the global community, this is one-in-a-generation project that must be supported, that must work. Amos, please take a message to President Biden that we thank his public pronouncements, not once, not twice, many times. I was following his pronouncement in India, I think the G20. Leadership is needed at the highest level. Again, back to my 2 brothers. We will do what it takes. We will talk to President Biden, we will talk to the EU colleagues, we will talk to the Japanese, we will talk to anyone, everyone. But the narrative and what we should talk about should come from you, the experts. We will communicate, we will link up, we will do what it takes. But it is you to generate the menu for us to do what we need to do to make this project move even faster. We had a pep talk yesterday with my brother from the AFC, and this morning with Amos, and we said we should work in a way that even if other things change in 12 months from now, no one will change anything other than making this project better than taking away from this project. So which means we must sign all that we need to sign, bind ourselves, get the private sector on board, capital mobilization, technical aspects, and indeed a buy-in from our communities. In the 3 countries, luckily, these 3 countries are members of SADC. Luckily. But we will utilize all of those platforms to get this project stitched to a level that no one can pull it apart. But we will rely on you, the ministers. I see you are seated together there. And your teams, technical teams. In there we were talking about bureaucracy. This is not a project we write memos to each other perpetually. And the reason we have not moved is because you have not had a response to your memo of August 2023. That will be bad behavior, unacceptable. I'm talking about coordination at all levels. Those in the public sector have a habit, a knack, to think that when you've done a memo to another ministry or department, you've done your work. No. The work is done when those deliverables are in place. I say this to people in this country, and I keep on banging on it, that processes are important, but ultimately processes only make sense if deliverables are being put in place. And in these side meetings, we've said we will put together a coordination mechanism which is not based on memos, but based on developing a shared checklist of actions which are time-bound, and clear responsibilities who will deliver what action point on time. So we have enlisted the support of the AFC, since they are partners anyway, ADB, all the partners, to structure the work processes, time, deliverables in the most easy but effective manner. Earlier I was talking about, I'll leave that subject for now. Earlier I was talking about that this is not about the rail line on. This is not about the communication on. This is about tourism as well. How nice would it be for a young couple who got married, particular day in Rwanda, they decide to take their honeymoon on the LOBITO corridor. Moving from LOBITO through Angola hinterland, Congo, teeing off into Zambia, through Ijimbe, on to Jingola, on Zambia Airways, into Kapiri, on Tazara, ending up in Dar es Salaam. They may choose to fly back if their pocket can afford that, but they can go back the same way. And either way, this is the vision we're talking about here. Tourism, enhancement, common packages between the three countries and beyond. As you can see, touches on Tanzania and other countries. Carbon trading. This corridor passes through assets, a lot of assets that can help us mitigate climate change. Forests. We need to manage these properly, build them in around this project. Very early as we conceive it, conceptualization. And pulling in, for us, the Ministry of Green Economy, Angola, DRC, along the way, so that we can manage these assets properly around this big project, this economy. I can say more. I think I've drilled the point that this is a once-in-a-generation opportunity for us.
What's up? My name is Ken Dumbo, the MC with the sauce. Don't forget to subscribe to JCOO.
To move with the LOBITO corridor with speed, more even than what we've done already. To process to beneficiate, not just the critical minerals. What do you want to move all the copper and cobalt and nickel and manganese onto the seas, only to move back the batteries back to the same places where the rocks were mined? Why don't we make the EV batteries around ourselves, motors, other accessories, as part of the regional EV industry, Africa EV industry, the global EV industry. This is the opportunity. This is why you business people are seated here. That's why you are seated here. That's why financiers are here. But I've said it before, Africa is saying we are being discriminated when capital is being priced for us. On this corridor, on this project, we want to see capital coming to support this project, the core part of this project, and the auxiliary business and sectors at a fair price. That's not asking for too much. We want to see technology being applied around this corridor. Not the second field of technology, but the best technology. Number two. Number three, we want to see joint ventures. Amos, the AFC colleague we've been talking, we want to see joint ventures. This is a different era. We want to see joint ventures which will lead to vested interests. Angolan, a business that involves Angolans, DRC and Zambian business people working together on one project, one investment, one component, delivering the goods and services. And clearly open to partners from the US, working with partners from the US, from EU, from Japan, from China, from anywhere. Partnerships, that's what I'm talking about. JVs, vested interests. We can use this opportunity to move away from what easily can evolve and lead to negatively called resource nationalism. Very negative, if it's not managed properly. And the fourth issue I talked about already, beneficiation, value addition. So we can grow the economies of Angola, DRC and Zambia. That's why we conceived this project, in partnership with anyone else. So sometimes people misunderstand the call we are making in Africa. We're not making a call to marginalize partners of the global community. No, we are saying this call is not talking about keeping you out. This call is talking about working, bringing you in and working with us in a way that we can share mutual benefits. Then we can grow our friendships. We can grow our democracy. We can support the social side of the equation. That's it. If we're not saying it properly, help us to say it properly. If we're not doing it properly, help us to do it properly. I want to end by saying, please, as you discuss private sector, governments, capital providers, entrepreneurs, be specific on the opportunities that this corridor is creating. The pie is big. Define your corner of the pie. But this is one pie, but it's big. Define the corner. Even as little as providing quarry stone for the construction. We expect to see Angolan businesses, DRC businesses, Zambian businesses supplying quarry stone, supplying building sand, supplying other things. I've gone to the smallest level. Define those things. What is this animal called LOBITO corridor? What does it mean to you in your space? What support do you need? But importantly, for the business community, financial, tell the three governments what will slow down, what is already slowing down the project. What are those bureaucratic rigidities? Tell us. Put it down clearly. Tell your colleagues who are ministers, permanent secretary, technical, that this one is standing in the way. Tell us that. And we work to unlock it. Heritage issues. How do we ensure that we bring on board Vice President Kabindele, who had this idea a long time ago. So it doesn't become an issue. I've talked to him, he's my elder brother. There's a lot of room to accommodate everyone in this big pie. But define these bits and pieces. Pension funds, local financial institutions, banks. Where is your space in this? Which corner are you going to sit in? Because we expect you to do something. Finally, just to thank once more all the colleagues that have been working on this corridor to bring us this far. My two brothers, Presidents of Angola, President Lorenzo, President Tshisekedi. Once again, Amos, President Biden, the EU team. Once again, AFC, African Development Bank, all of those colleagues, technical people who are never talked about in these platforms. Thank you for doing what you've done to bring this project to a level where today we are talking about a private sector forum. This one, this first in the corridor countries outside of the US. Amos and your team, all the running around you've been doing. My ministers here, we expect a lot from you. When I say my ministers, I mean from the three countries. Not just the transport ministers, but various ministers as well, and your teams. But there's a lot more work that needs to be done. A lot more work needs to be done. And this joint team we're talking about, where we don't want to see paperwork too much, but more actionable items, should lead us to a point where, as I said at the beginning, we'll have a situation where even if I change my mind as President of Zambia, I will not change this project. Who am I to change my mind? Because I know this project will create jobs for my fellow citizens. I think you've got the point I'm making here. I've said it almost the third time now, a point of no return. We wish you well in the remainder of the time around in this forum. We remain available, and I speak on behalf of my colleagues here from Angola and the others. We remain available to work for the project on things that you define for us that require our intervention. If the three of us have to meet as an emergency to unlock something, we will meet. We expect you to do the same. Thank you for your kind attention.
Your Excellency, thank you for those words. We want to follow through on what you said, which is to listen to the private sector. We've all come from a long way to be here. So I'm glad that we were able to hear from you, Mr. President, and now I'm really eager to be able to hear from the private sector to understand what it is that they need from us so that they can make the investments, because that's what this corridor at the end of the day is all about. Thank you very much again.
That, in essence, concludes.
What's up? My name is Ken Dumbo, the MC with the sauce. Don't forget to subscribe to JCOO.